Hey guys, welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today we will be reviewing a new switch from KTT and it's called the KTT Hyacinth Switch. It's a brand new switch by them and I think it's pretty interesting. And these switches were actually provided by PCB Malaysia, who are going to be running a group buy for this switch. So if you're interested after this review, head down to the descriptions below. You can join the group buy there. Of course, as usual, a huge thank you to PCB Malaysia for sending the switches over. Now let's start the review. So as I said before, these are some new switches from KTT named the Hyacinth Switch. And yes, this switch is named after a flower which carries the same colors this switch does. So these are how the switches look like. They look pretty interesting in my opinion. There's not been a switch with this kind of color scheme, so you have yellow or teal and like a really dark purple. Looks overall really interesting to me, and I've heard that they sound pretty good out of the box. So these are stock, and I also have some Lubed ones, so we'll be doing a sound test in this video. Let's check out the switch close up. So taking a look around the switch, for the stem we have this kind of yellow stem which actually resembles the look and feel of a Gateron Milky Yellow. But these are actually more stable. From my testing, you can actually see later on, this stem is really nice and there's no wobble whatsoever. It's really tightly fitted in this switch. And as for the overall look of the switch, we have this kind of purple color which actually looks like the hyacinth flower. We have a lighter purple for the top housing and a darker purple for the bottom housing. And on the bottom, we can see it is 5-pin hot swap and we have a cutout for the LED RGB on the top. And to open up this switch is really easy. All you need is just a Gateron style switch opener. And of course, after you open up the switch, you have the top housing, the stem, the spring and the bottom housing. So for this switch, KTT uses a brand new housing design and material. So the top housing of this switch, which is the lighter purple one, uses polycarbonate for the materials. The stem of the switch, which is the yellow one, uses a POM material. The spring included is a long style spring with an actuation force of 45 grams and it bottoms out at 56 grams and has a total travel of 3.5 millimeters. And the bottom housing, which carries the leaf, is made out of a nylon material in this kind of darker purple. And one more thing about the housing of this switch, as you can see when opening it up, it's actually quite tight and fits really nicely. So you don't have to film them. Actually, you can't even fit a film in there. I think they'll be too tight for the switch. And as you guys can see, there is no factory loop included to cut down on cost because these switches actually cost pretty good. I think around 1.2 ringgit per switch. And actually from my testing, they do feel pretty smooth out of the box without any loop. And I can say that they actually are smoother than the Gateron Milky Yellows. And of course, from the sound test, you can hear that when it's looped, it sounds much more smoother and more marbly. And when it's not looped, you can actually hear the friction between the stem and the housing. But I would say it's not such a big deal if you don't listen that closely to it. In normal daily use, you can't really hear the scratchiness of the stock one. But if you can lube it and you have a chance to lube it, I recommend highly because it sounds way better lubed and it has this really nice marbly poppy sound to it. So moving on to the typing sound test for these switches, the keyboard I'll be using is called the PG67. It's a gasket mounted keyboard and it's also by PCB Malaysia. So if you're interested in that keyboard and the build, you can check out another video that's already on my channel. So the KTT Hyacinth switches will be used for the alphas, and other switches, if you're interested, they are called the JWK client switches. If you're interested, again, links will be in the description below. I'll be using it in another build and another video. So with all the switches installed, let's move on to the typing sound test to compare how it sounds like stock and lubed. So yeah, that was the typing sound test, and yes, you guys can hear and I also can hear it sounds really nice. Honestly, with it loop, it sounds pretty amazing, but I would say that when it's stock, it sounds pretty okay as well. The scratchiness is there, but it does have like a deep talk to it. One more extra thing I would like to mention is actually the stem. The stem is pretty solid in my opinion. This is it compared to other stems out there and other switches. There's actually no stem wobble, which is really nice, so it gives you a really rigid typing experience. It feels more like a premium switch. Honestly, I have nothing bad to really say about these switches. They look pretty awesome and they sound pretty good. And as for the price, I think it's pretty okay as well compared to other more high-end switches, which can cost up to 2 to 3 ringgit per switch. So if you're interested in getting these switches, you can join the group buy. Details will be in the description below, and it's of course run by PCB Malaysia. So head down to the pinned comment or the description to get more details on the group buy. So yeah, that was it for this video guys. Leave a like on this video if you liked it, dislike this video if you didn't like it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I have even more content like this coming soon, and as always, thanks for watching. Goodbye guys.